What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of DSUG, bonus episode, mid-season finale review of The Walking Dead.
Yep. And as per usual, spoiler alert for everybody, if you haven't seen the mid-season finale, which is season 6, episode 8, stop watching right now. We're going to be discussing that episode, all of season 6, and probably most of The Walking Dead episodes before that, some of the companion series and comic books, the video games, who the hell knows, all that stuff. So if you've seen any of that and you don't want to have anything spoiled, just stop watching right now. Go watch it, come back, and then join in with us after that. So as always, we are streaming live on YouTube. You can check it out, youtube.com/C/DirtyShore UG-OTA. Comment on the live stream there. We can see it right up here and become part of the conversation. You can join in live. Make sure you're following at Dirtyshore UG on Twitter and Facebook. Trying to get those followers up on both of those mediums so that we can make this a big conversation and have everybody join in. So, a lot of stuff happened and nothing happened,
Yep.
really. I mean, it's one of those episodes that you would think that they would bring out a little bit more, and they didn't. I mean, I think it could have been better. I think it could have been a better episode overall. You watched all of our podcasts, all the bonus episodes today.
No, I watched the very first one because that's where we did our main predictions at when we had Corey here with us.
And if you were looking to, some of the stuff we talk about is going to be from our previous episodes. You can find those at DirtyShoreUnderground.com. New episodes of this podcast every Thursday. Bonus episodes, specifically those about The Walking Dead, available there. They come out every Monday or Tuesday. So what were our predictions from the first episode of the season?
Who we thought would die by the mid-season finale.
Right. And
who
who
would
was
have been
it?
a big, and we were all thinking maybe it would be Father Gabriel.
Based on how he acted there at the end of the first episode.
And the way they were shunning him towards the back half of this first half season. So.
Now, and if I could flash back, that was when Carol went all badass. That was episode 1, and she gave Father Gabriel the 2 guns, and he kind of like.
That was episode 2.
Was that 2?
Yeah, because we had Tony with us, and
that's
he was
right.
like, "How the fuck you black and don't match?"
But so I mean, not many predictions, but certainly that didn't come true. We lost some people this season. Ethan Embry's, who died on episode 1, I think, right? Yeah, that was when the quarry went down. Ethan Embry, fantastic actor. Wish he would have stuck around, but he was kind of a dick in this, honestly. So maybe better that he wasn't around. I mean, overall, let's stick to this episode. So we start off the episode the same way we ended the last one. Tower comes down, takes out part of the wall. One of the things I like and I hate about the way that the universe works is sometimes it seems like the zombies move at like a glacial creep, and sometimes it seems like they are like running.
High speed.
Yeah. And at some point it seems like Alexandria is this huge town, and other times it seems like it's like a really small area. Mm-hmm. Like it seems like the zombies kind of flood in really quickly and cover the ground pretty fast. Rick also has a movie 6-shooter that apparently fires 45 shots before you have to reload. I dig that. And Deanna learned to finally shoot zombies in the head. That was nice.
Although, in her defense, she was trying to stab them before, and maybe she thought stabbing them would work.
I don't know. And she was using a broken bottle, I think, to begin with. So that was one other thing. But, there was a lot of action, but it's weird. And it's weird to think back from season 1, season 2 to now. Like, when they fled from the farmhouse, when they fled from the jail, it was really fleeing. And I want you to think back. And Harry, I don't know if you've seen those earlier seasons or not.
Not really.
Okay, so, but when they fled from the farmhouse, they were running for their lives. When they fled from the jail, it was more like an organized retreat. Or maybe disorganized retreat. But it was like groups got together and then kind of fought their way out of the jail. With Alexandria, it turned into a, like, stand your ground. Like, go to wherever you're going to go, hunker down, and then stand your ground. And that's what's going to happen. I mean, did you see that kind of as a change from previous times?
I think they felt, because it was zombies coming in as not being, like the governor's group or something with the prison, they felt that they could still take it back and rebuild that section of the wall.
Right.
So I think that's why they're doing what they're doing. They all ran inside, and we're going to just wait for them to gather in one corner, and then...
Well, I guess that is different, because the farmhouse didn't have walls, so they were kind of coming in from all sides. The jail was more about the governor's people and less about the zombies. They used the zombies as a weapon against them. So I guess, yeah, if you can get that wall back up, you could theoretically, seal it back up and then kill out all the zombies inside and then just be safe again, theoretically. But, so at the very beginning we see Deanna falling on a saw and hurting herself. These are like the most accident-prone people, and I gotta say, I think Deanna's the only one who could have done it because our characters, our group, seemed to be much better on their feet than everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of like them helping everybody else up, like let's go, we have to get out of here. Except for Jesse, who like was like a little badass when they got surrounded. Jesse just came out, like hammered down 6 or 7 zombies, and then said, "Hey, get in the house, let's go." So anyway, so what else popped out at you from this episode?
I want to know how Deanna didn't know she was bit. I mean, I get that she fell on the saw,
Right?
And she was probably feeling the adrenaline from that, but she had to know that a zombie bit her.
Well, and I was going live on Twitter back and forth with people, and you can find me on Twitter at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you're following at Dirtyshore UG on Twitter as well. And a lot of people were saying that it didn't actually look like a bite. It looked like the saw blades kind of cut her. So I don't know if we're going to find out later that she wasn't actually bitten, that it was just saw blade teeth. Mm-hmm. But I would say that falling on a saw like that would probably mean, and when they saw it, it was like a cut and then the bite right below it. I don't know that you would know the difference between the two. It would just be like, I have a lot of pain in this area, get me the hell out of here. So, and, juxtaposed to that, and it's still fighting her way out. She comes in to save Rick, not that necessarily Rick needs to be saved. And then they fight their way to the house. And on the other side of that equation is Eugene, who in this universe may be the most, literally the most useless person on the planet. There's not many people left, and he's pretty fucking useless. So,
and he keeps lucking out.
And keeps getting lucky. I guess we did learn that he was the one on the walkie-talkie. So we did find that out. Little anticlimactic on that, because, if, again, those of you go to DirtyshoreUnderground.com, you can check out old episodes. We were kind of guessing at who it might be. Is it the guy who stole the bike? Is it Glenn? And it wasn't either of those, obviously. We found out last week. Now we found out it was Eugene. But, one, he's standing there scared, not doing anything. He has to get rescued by Tara and Rosa, and then dragged into the building. And in a world where resources are finite, he's sitting in a brightly lit room reading a book with a lighter. And I'm just, racking my brain.
He was wasting our precious resources at that point.
And I'm just, racking my brain, how useless are you as a person, Eugene? And then, immediately after I hit send, he kind of, I don't want to say he redeems himself, but he does kind of say, hey, I do have a skill set after all, because I can pick locks a little bit, maybe. So, maybe he's not so useless after all. But
even though we didn't really see him pick the lock.
And we don't know for sure that he can, because he also told people he knew how to cure the damn virus for, however many months it took them to get from Texas all the way up to Alexandria.
He's trying to find a reason for Abraham not to lay his ass out again.
Maybe he's hoping it'll get from Rosa back to Abraham. Little does he know what's going on there. So Harry, what popped out at you? Now, you don't watch week to week, right?
No, I don't.
All right, so you just dropped right into this.
Pretty much.
Okay. So, as somebody who doesn't watch that often, what popped out at you?
Really, I don't really know. I don't have a really big first impression of it. Just taking in what I see at the time. You guys already have some impressions and stuff, like you said. I got no bias or anything like that with it.
Which is good, though. That's
good. It is. It's nice to see a fresh pair of eyes. One thing with the saw blade, just from my experience dealing with medical care, depending on how you fall on it and how it happens, if I see someone with a cut, I can probably tell, okay, is it from a knife? Is it from something dull? Just based on it.
Right.
And, the saw blade could be mimicking teeth marks. And literally, walker or zombie, I don't know what term you use, teeth marks.
Either way.
she could have also just slid on it, and that would actually make a cut.
Right.
It would look like it. But if she fell straight on it, where the teeth just went straight in, could look like a saw blade. If she fell on it at the right angle and her skin was pulled tight. So that's up for debate. I mean, if you want to look back on it and see, okay, did she fall at an angle? Did she fall straight on it?
What I would say it's probably moot either way, because instead of shooting herself, she wasted all the bullets on the zombies and then roared at them. Although we didn't hear the roar, we just kind of saw her. She really did. I mean, but you know, there is a general rule, and I heard it a lot in like World War II, World War I lore, where they say like you always save one for yourself. And if you get down, if like pilots get down behind enemy lines, what they'll do is that they will keep full clips, but they'll keep a single round in a pocket somewhere. And that round is for you. It's not for anybody else. And I think that's got to be a general rule in the zombie apocalypse too. You keep one for yourself, because there's like 40 zombies coming up the stairs. She takes out 5, 6 of them, however many rounds she had in that gun, roars at the rest of them, and then what's your plan after that?
You think maybe she was trying to get the zombies' attention so that the rest of them could get out easier?
It could be, and I mean that does make some sense, but the worst thing, and I think we've talked about this before, the worst thing that I can imagine is being like Morgan's wife and getting turned and then being a threat to the people that I used to care about. Because what we saw from Morgan in season 1 is people take that half tick where they're like, I can't kill this particular zombie. They're not the person I knew. They're not the person I loved, but they look just like them, and I can't do it. And so that's why I say, you know, save one for yourself, because that way you make sure that you're not putting them in that position where not you, but the zombie body that's left ends up hurting someone else. And that's why they always just say, they always do all the dead. You always get one in the head just to make sure that you don't do that. So, but I mean, so anyway, other thoughts other than Deanna, anything else pop out at you?
I'd probably need to see a few more episodes to probably understand how the group works, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like groupthink. How many times has this group actually had a plan and it failed and they had to go on and stuff?
The story of the group is they have a plan and it fails, basically.
I bet. But, you know, it just seemed like, you know, like I said, jumping into it, I don't know how many seasons there are.
6.
6? Yeah. Okay, so they probably have this down and they kind of know how to do it. The last part of it where they were kind of melaging themselves with the corpse and stuff, so that way they can get through, you know, enemy within my enemy. Pretty awesome. That got me interested.
Well, no, see, then you'll love season 1, because that's actually a callback to season 1 where Rick and Glenn, that's how they escaped before. And they, actually, it's also a callback to season 4 where we met Michonne, because Michonne... Is it 3?
We've seen her at the very end of season 2.
Okay.
Because she saved Andrea.
Right, that's right. So, and she wasn't necessarily putting it on her, but she actually had 2 zombies that she kept on chains with her, and she took out their teeth and their hands. Yeah, well, we found that out later. But, and because they were with her, they were like masking her being there, so she could walk kind of freely amongst them. So, it's something that they learned that that they can mask their own scent, and that the zombies basically work on scent.
How goddamn time they did it this episode.
Well, and I gotta say that, like, all of the stuff that they've been dealing with the Horde is, the numbers is what gets you, and you get around the numbers by just being camouflaged. Why did it take so long? Glenn knows this, Rick knows this, anybody...
Daryl knows it.
Daryl, Michonne, and I feel like that's the story that you tell when you're sitting and relaxing somewhere, you know?
When Carol saved them from Terminus, she had the poncho.
That's right, she did too.
So, Justin, I do agree with you about the comics being a bit better, but obviously TV has to be drawn out and have that drama to keep people...
Right, and I think the thing about the comic books is that you can do a lot more in comic books when you're not dealing with things like the actress who plays Tara got pregnant at the end of the break into the shooting for the season, so it limits the things that you have to do. You're limited by the characters. On the Walking Dead comics, Rick doesn't have a hand. And it's easy enough to have him do one-handed whatever you need him to do. But if they were to write that into the show, now you've limited Andrew Lincoln because he physically cannot do some of the things that you would want him to do. Whereas you could draw whatever you want. I mean, comics are that way. You can build a universe in any way that you want. And I think that's part of the reason I love comic books in general, and I'm excited to read the compendiums because now we're almost to the end.
Yep,
it looks like.
just about.
So I can kind of start on those. So that'll be nice. But I think it's two different mediums. And I mean, not to get too off topic, but like I love comic books, and I love Marvel comic books. I also like the Marvel movies, and they're two very different
Yes,
things.
they are.
It's all about finding the entertainment value in the different ones. And I mean, I'm a writer. I do screenplays. I do teleplays. And there's something unique about. I mean, I'm working now on the Calls, the book, right? And I can tell the story of the Calls, and you can picture it in your mind, and it works a lot like a play or like watching a TV show. But putting it on paper is a whole different thing, and you can tell the story a lot better when you're using words because I can kind of draw that out and do it a lot differently.
Now, I want to bring up this question real quick.
Yeah.
At the end, during the first commercial break of Ended Badlands, we finally got to see Negan.
No, we didn't see Negan.
No, we did.
No, that was guys that work for Negan.
I'm pretty sure.
No,
He said they all belong. That it belongs to Negan now. So
I thought that main guy was Negan.
No. Now, as Justin Gonzalez, thank you, Justin, for joining us. As Justin points out, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who is a really great actor, the first role that pops up in my mind, just because I love the movie, is Red Dawn. He plays the downed pilot in the new version of Red Dawn. But he has been in a lot of stuff. He's been cast allegedly as Negan. This was the guy who they were talking about John Hamm being cast. And I don't know if they were avoiding, AMC was avoiding, like, we don't want John Hamm on too many things, that he's already in one of our kind of like tentpole shows, and we don't want him to be in both, well, depending on how much Negan's around. But, sorry. So that wasn't Negan, it was just Negan's goons,
Okay.
goon squad, I guess.
I don't know why, for some reason, I thought that guy would be Negan.
Well, and I mean, my understanding from the comics is that everyone talks about Negan kind of in the third person, like he is, like, talking about God. Like, it's... all of this, you wouldn't say that I don't have a gun. I'm using Negan's gun. I don't have a bike. I am using Negan's bike. All of this belongs to Negan, and he lets me use it, basically.
See, I don't know a lot about Negan because the compendiums I have,
Yeah.
it predates Negan. Negan
Right.
shows up in the comics after Alexandria.
And
So-
I think it's weird that they did this a little bit, is that they brought in the Saviors and they brought in the Wolves kind of all together, and they're setting up, I think, a good... not a dichotomy, I guess a trichotomy between all three of these factors all kind of going in. And I sense maybe that they're going to split the group up again, the way that they did after the jail, and have people kind of facing different groups all over the place. Maybe a good idea, because I think our group as a whole is stronger than any other group that I've seen thus far, so it might be good. But no, that wasn't Negan, that was just his little goon squad.
Well, all the other groups, they had the one alpha dog,
Yeah.
and he's telling everybody what to do. So, to me, that's basically all it is. And then you got Rick's group. Everybody gets along for the most part, except for tonight. Carol and Morgan went at it. So, we started yelling because I thought what I said was going to happen during a commercial break was actually about to happen.
Yeah, I almost did. Almost did. So for those of you who are following along, you can follow me on Periscope at Robert and Cheek. I was periscoping all night doing commercial break promos for what we're doing here tonight. But Kenny had a great prediction and almost called
this
it.
fucking
Yeah,
close.
which was that Carol and Morgan in the standoff in the basement with Denise and the wolf, whatever his, I don't know if we ever got a name for him.
I don't
other
think
than,
we did.
But that in that standoff, the Carol and Morgan were going to clash, and the wolf was going to kind of trip up Morgan, and then end up killing everybody. And here's what I'll say. One, if the other three, if Tara and Eugene and Rosa, is it Rosalita? I keep saying Rosa, but I think it's Rosalita.
I think they just
It's
call it Rosa.
Rosalita.
Is it Rosalita?
Abraham calls her Rosie sometimes.
Right. If they had interrupted, the wolf guy may have ended up killing everybody, and you might have been right, but they should have.
See,
just
now, if
enough.
I was those three and I walked in, I would have just popped the doctor and him and been done with it.
And that's what this is what I tweeted out too at Robert and Cheek on Twitter. Make sure you're following at Dirtyshore UG on Twitter.
You know Carol would have.
That's the thing, is that you gotta be hard in the zombie apocalypse. And when this guy is holding people hostage, you have three people with guns, he's got a knife to the doctor's throat, you gotta just say, what's the bigger loss here? And whoever's your best shot, you have an ex-military girl holding a gun on this guy. Be like, yo, take the shot. Just take best shot. Try to hit him in the head. If you don't hit him in the head, then, you know,
It'll
take
at
a couple of
least freak him
shots.
out.
Yeah. But instead, you have 3 people putting their weapons down, giving them to the guy, who then leaves with Denise. And I understand. It is a show. There are plot points that we are moving forward in some way. How the hell he's getting out with the zombies all around? I have a thought that maybe the wolves have some kind of secret in dealing with zombies, and we're going to find out what that is, how they can walk amongst zombies that way.
Yeah, because we've seen where they were setting up traps earlier on, so...
Yeah, so maybe they can walk in the horde, and we don't know why, but maybe they can. But at this point, I just don't understand, like, why would you possibly do that? Why would 3 people give up weapons? Morgan and Carol are out, although I don't really get that either. It didn't seem like they were knocked out that hard to be out that much, but nonetheless, let's just
maybe they never take showers, so they stink just as bad as
sticking that as zombies could be that. Not a lot of showering.
I mean, that guy did look pretty fucking dirty, so.
Yo, his teeth were the worst part though. Like you know, his breath just reeks though. That's like the worst part, you know. But you know,
it's very realistic though, because how are you gonna brush your teeth in the zombie apocalypse?
Well, unless you're in Alexandria. But it seemed like though when the wolves came in, they weren't trying to take over. They were just wreaking havoc in Alexandria. They weren't trying to take over the city. They didn't want the showers. They didn't want that stuff.
Take what they could.
Yeah, they're just doing what they're doing. But you almost called it. Carol did get knocked out, and then Morgan got knocked out. Nobody got stabbed, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Well, I know, because I called the episode anticlimactic because we didn't lose anybody. At least from what we saw.
Yeah.
Right there at the end, there's kind of a question.
Deanna's going to be dead by the next half of the season.
Well, here's the other thing about that. Glenn, the whole controversy with Glenn earlier in the season showed us, one, they're not afraid to kill off a major character. They'll do it. We know that they'll do that. We don't care. But that you can never tell when somebody's going to be dead. Deanna might be dead. Maybe that wasn't a bite. Maybe it was just a mark. Maybe she turns out she slams the door and locks it and then never turns and she's fine. And, you know, who else did we see? We saw Sam breaking the #1 rule of zombie cosplay, which is you don't talk when you're doing zombie cosplay.
Yeah.
You have to be silent. And the thing is, they're all standing on the porch. They're all giving each other those looks that, you know, when we can't say anything, but it's like, okay,
So,
you good?
So
Good?
That
Good?
the way that part ended, I won't tell you what happens in the comics, but I'm hoping them trying to walk across with the zombie guts and shit happens the way the comic book happens.
Well, I can only imagine that shit goes crazy and the horde gets all stirred up because he talks. Here's what I would say. Sam, maybe you're not meant for the zombie apocalypse, and maybe we should have left you in the fucking house.
Was it just me, or didn't he look like a drug addict by the end of the...
Well, and I think like the whole thing was...
I think it was about fear. But he looked
kept
like
having
a
that
drug
tunnel
addict.
vision going.
Yeah, he wasn't sleeping. He was just he was afraid of everything. And in one of the Periscope commercial break things I posted, there was a lot of like weird but good zombie apocalypse wisdom in this episode too. Because like Jesse grabs him and is just like, you need to pretend that you're somebody who's not afraid. Just for a little while. Just pretend you're somebody who's not afraid. And then on the other end of that is Deanna saying just like, well, shit. That's it. So,
what do you do at that point? Nothing.
well, and that's the thing is that like, but she has come from a place where I really hated her when we first met her to like, this is a cool bitch. She's just like, all right, you know, I lost my husband and I don't feel great about that. And
She went through her depressive stage though, like the rest of them do.
Right, but then now she's come out of it and she's ready to go, and I think it's great. So I like her, and it's sad that she's lost, but we don't know that she's lost. Maggie is on top of a rickety ass stand, and the zombies are pushing on it. And the only thing I could think is that Glenn climbs the tree, apparently Enid's tree, the way that she gets in and out of the compound. And he gets to the top and he sees Maggie, and I'm like horrified. I'm like, he's gonna see that thing collapse. And we're about to see her die.
Yep.
But she didn't. But we're right on the edge. I mean, it could possibly happen.
They left us on the edge with a million questions.
Right.
So.
But no other major characters. I mean, so where is everybody from the post 2 minutes that we saw from Into the Badlands? We know that.
Kenny'd be depressed if Maggie died.
Is that your girl?
I think we'd all be a little bit depressed if Maggie died.
Yeah, she's gonna get pregnant too. I do love my pregnant girls, so I'd be very upset if she was. I think pregnant women are beautiful, and especially in the zombie apocalypse, they're like the sacred vessel because it's all about getting the next generation birthed and out. But so we know Abraham, Daryl, and Sasha are about to get in some shit with Negan's people.
Yep.
And my guess is that they're going to get taken by Negan's people because Negan's people are all about the you come with us, you have to choose to stay, but basically everything you have becomes ours.
And like you were saying, that's when Abraham should just leaned out with the RPG and just.
You're sitting on basically 6 bombs, like stroking your AK-47s. If he had just like put that RPG in and just put out the window and be like, I think we're gonna come through here, guys. Like, just let him go. Like, what are you gonna do?
Once this is done and over with, shit's gonna go down between Abraham, Rosalita, and what's her face anyway.
Well, and that just the upsetting thing is that just delayed it because you know that they're gonna go to wherever Negan is, and they're not going back to Alexandria. So Daryl Dixon, unfortunately, isn't going to be the savior of Alexandria, at least not right now. So everybody who was hoping for him to like swoop in on a vine over the wall and just start like popping zombies. Well, he doesn't have his crossbow anymore either, but not going to happen. And I had my fingers crossed for the big tank of gasoline RPGs, horde of zombies. Nothing but good things can come from this.
We got 8 more episodes though.
But I was hoping for this episode.
Yeah, for this episode it would have been awesome, but we got 8 more to go, starting in February. I'm thinking the first episode is probably going to be February 14th.
On Valentine's Day?
Yep.
Oh, that would be the worst. If they're smart, they wouldn't do that though, because the people.
Why would that be the worst?
Because, well, I mean, I don't have plans. I don't give a shit. But for people who do have romantic entanglements, they might want to do something.
We ain't doing nothing for Valentine's Day. We ain't doing nothing last year.
We'll light some candles.
Well, for women who are dating, good men, maybe they have plans. I don't know. But no, because here's what I would say. If I was Robert Kirkman, I would not put it on Valentine's Day because you had the lowest opening ever from this season. Of all of the, it's not been 12. It's been, because one of those seasons they ran straight through.
That was season 1 because it was only 6 episodes.
Right. So of the 11 season openers or mid-season openers that you've done, the lowest rated one was this season. The last thing you want to do is put it on a day where people may not watch because their wives are like, no, we're going out. You're not sitting at home. Although maybe some wives would be doing it too, I shouldn't say. Shouldn't be gender specific, but
they'll watch for Daryl.
Maybe they would watch for Daryl. But so we know Daryl and Abram and Sasha are off there dealing with Negan's people. Denise is with the wolf. We don't know what's going to happen to her, but she's outside of the house. She's with Negan's people, or she's with the wolves. My guess is that she's on her way to the wolves, actually. Carol and Morgan are both knocked out. Terry, Eugene, and Rosa are there. They just watched Denise walk out. Mm-hmm. So they're all in that. Oh, we do know that Eugene can pick locks. Because he picked the lock. That's right. He must have picked the lock.
They didn't show it, but they got out.
Yeah, so Eugene, not the most worthless person in the world.
Good. He said picking locks is in my skill set. I was like, the fuck?
And by the way, maybe a better time that you could have used this, like, ever before. How many times have we seen them kick open doors when they're doing searches around? You could just go up and pick the lock and...
But would you really want to take Eugene out into the world with you?
Very true. True. On the nose. Yeah. No, that's right. We don't want to do that.
I was going to say, he'd been too busy...
Although he was the reason Tara lived, to be honest.
That's true. That's true. So, of everybody who's left, we know Maggie is up on the stand. Mm-hmm. Deanna, we have no idea, but she's upstairs in the bedroom. Other than that, is it just the main... Is everybody else dead except for the main crew?
It seemed that way. But they didn't show inside any other houses, and we don't know who all was
right, and we don't know who
started
else.
This episode.
Yeah. So there's a big question, but otherwise it's Rick and Jesse, Carl, Ron, Father Gabriel. For Christ's sake, can he die already? Is that it?
Fuck your prayer circle.
I thought for sure Deanna had turned and was going to eat Judith.
Oh my god. Alright, so yeah, another great moment. Hashtag where the fuck is Deanna was trending on Twitter for like, well not trending, but it was in the top tweets for a minute. Because as Rick comes upstairs, bed's empty. And what kind of father in the zombie apocalypse leaves their baby upstairs with a depressed teenager who looks like a drug addict because he hasn't slept in days, and a woman who's
I
about
don't
to
think
turn.
he's a teenager. I think he's like 9 or 10.
Whatever he is, I hope he dies soon.
I'd be hashtagging, where the fuck is Judith? Like, this whole season, this whole part of the season, you've only seen her once or twice, and a ton of shit has gone down.
Okay, sidebar on that. Anybody notice that Judith ain't looking a lot like Rick?
Sure.
I was gonna say, she's looking like she's got some deep Italian features, which is not so much like Andrew Lincoln, a lot more, Shane-ish. So that begs an interesting question. You're in the zombie apocalypse. Your wife has been banging your best friend, who then you kill. She gets pregnant, she is pregnant, she gives birth, and she dies. You're now stuck with this baby. Not stuck with this baby, you have this baby. Babies are a liability in a zombie apocalypse.
Because they cry.
Because they cry a lot. Although she was real calm and they put the visceral meat tent over top of her.
They probably had to wipe out the audio when her...
Well, no, but even so, let's just say storyline-wise, I think that growing up in that teaches babies to be quiet a lot, too. It's like there are times to play and there are times
Which is
not.
also why they don't show Judith a whole lot either, I'm willing to bet.
Well, it's got to be weird. I mean, working with kids and also working with kids is bad. They can only be on set. Kids of that age can only be on set for 3 hours a day. So if you figure it takes an hour to set up a shot, 5 minutes to do the shot, and then an hour to reset it up, you're getting two chances with that baby in that one day.
I bet Carl spends more time on the set than that, though.
Well, when you get older, around Carl's age, they can be on there for 8 hours. But for a baby...
But I also think he does homeschooling now. So.
Well, I mean, he can be on set, but he can't be on camera. He can only work an 8-hour day. Everybody else can kind of just work as long as the union lets them work. But... or whatever their contract allows for. And working with kids is tough. So... I mean, especially kids that are that age that all right, so we've set it up, we spent $100,000 for today, we're doing Judith shots, and Judith is just having a shitty day, and she's not feeling well or whatever else. What the fuck do you do? I mean, luckily it's Alexandria, so the sets are kind of still standing, and it's like, all right, let's do this instead today, we'll come back to that shot. But, so I think that's, realistically, that's why, but... I also think that when you're a baby in the zombie apocalypse, you learn to just shut the fuck up sometimes. And she got the meat tent over her, and she was calm, and it's not Judith that gives him away.
Meat tent?
The meat tent. I'm going to call it hashtag meat tent. Judith's meat tent. Which, Judith's meat tent sounds kind of like a food truck. Like one of those food trucks from Portland or something.
Something like that.
I feel like that would be Judith's meat tent. I'm going to have to call into the Talking Dead and... tell them Judith meat tent. But, what was I saying? Oh, but so it's not Judith crying under her meat tent who gives him away. Well, I mean, he didn't see him give him away, but fucking Sam. Shut the fuck up, Sam. Number one rule, shut the fuck up. Just don't say anything when we're playing cosplay. That's it.
And he had to notice that they were just walking around him. So I don't get why
Upstairs, they said we can't talk. We can't talk. Put these on, we're going to walk past them, we can't talk, we have to be silent. And then, Mom? I mean, so early, see, episode 1, when Ethan's yelling and getting their attention, Rick just in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's got the balls to kill Jesse's husband and her kid right in front of her? Because I think I might just stab little Sam in the back of the head. Driving me insane. But, and he's going to get everybody killed. I mean, that group of 7, is the main core of what's left. We have 5 in the basement. Denise is out. We have 3 out on the road. I mean, am I forgetting somebody, or is it really just that small of a group now?
It's that small a group. I mean, we got 2 right outside the fence.
Oh, and then we have Enid and Glenn who are coming in. So I guess Glenn's theory was... when the zombies come in, they're going to move away from that wall, so that'll be the wall to climb over. Mm-hmm. Because as they shuffle into the door, or into the hole, they'll fill a gap there. And I guess it was sound because they were able to climb the tree. But he's not even in yet; they're just kind of up there. So we have them and Maggie, who's up on the stand. Did you see what happened to Maggie? What was the story with her?
I think she just didn't get the chance to go the other way.
I mean, because she looked like she was hobbling a little bit up the stairs. I don't know if she twisted an ankle or she's just pregnant and slow or what.
It looked like she fell and got up.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sure she was shooting at the. Yeah, she was because she ran out of bullets.
Right. I do want to see like a super pregnant Maggie with an AK-47, like pop, 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 just killing zombies. Like it's okay, baby, it's okay. Pop, 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 pop.
Just
Well-
a massager.
I guess the good thing about Tara.
Tara.
I guess the good thing about Tara being pregnant is that when Maggie finally has her baby, they can use Tara's baby.
Well, no, because Tara's husband is Asian and she's Asian, so that baby will not look like Maggie at all.
Glenn's Asian.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the baby will look like real Asian, not like mixed baby Asian.
It works, damn it.
Also, I think it's all about whether you want your kid to be in Hollywood or not, and I don't know that Tara wants her kid to be in Hollywood, so that would be the other part of that. And judging by the schedule, she wants to be in Hollywood because she's pregnant and still shooting,
And she had her baby about a month ago, so.
And I was gonna say, and so she'll be ready for
Season 7.
Season 7, which starts up soon, I would say, right? For next fall. Next fall shooting starts very soon. So I can't imagine how pregnant she's gonna be.
Just ignore it.
It should start in February. I think that's when they start the
Shooting for the next fall.
Mhm.
Oh, it's getting exciting. Anyway, so any other thoughts?
We gotta get to the most important thing that had us on the edge of our seats for
Go ahead.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Carl and Ron.
Okay, Carl and Ron. Yeah.
I know I was up on the edge of my seat. I thought the shit was about to go down.
Well, yeah. So if you tune into an earlier episode, DirtyShoreUnderground.com, you'll know that Kenny predicted that, and I don't know incorrectly, but that there was going to be an incidental gunfire. And it looked there for a minute, it was going to be a little more than incidental. Like, it was going to be pretty freaking on purpose. So, but yeah, go ahead.
The scuffle, they were scuffling in the garage, ended up letting the zombies in the house to begin with. Ron locked them in the garage together. Carl, being a little smart ass, kept cracking on his father.
I love that Ron takes the time, or not Ron, that Carl takes the time to burn Ron. Even, we get shit's going crazy and he's still like, listen, I gotta get a little burn in here real quick. Just so you know, your dad's dead. And he's a bit of an asshole. And oh, by the way, your girlfriend, who I totally banged in the woods the other day.
And I like how both of them tried to act like it didn't even happen when Rick was like, what happened in there? Oh, nothing. We were trying to get some tools to help, and they broke in.
Yeah. Well, and what was Carl's reason for that? Like, you got to start calling out Ron's bullshit at some point, right? Like, no, he tried to fucking kill me. He pulled a gun on me.
Because we still got 8 more episodes.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance that he could get the gun.
Back. Yeah.
Or pull one. How fucked that would it be if he pulled the gun out from Carl, gets right behind him while they're going through the line of zombies,
Shoots
while
up.
shit's breaking out and just pops them in the back of the head.
Well, that's my other question, too. If shit breaks out when you have those meat tarps on, you can't get to a gun easily. Because, like, everything's underneath the tarp. Everything's covered up, so that has got to be a bad situation. You can't really run either because you're covered with meat sheets. Meat sheets, that's another good one. Hashtag meat sheets.
Ew.
What? Meat sheets? You don't like meat sheets? I feel like that's a new jerky product. Instead of breaking it up into pieces, it just comes in a full like piece of
Talking about like
steak.
steakums?
Like steakums, like a steakum. There's meat sheets. Meat sheets.
Steakum poncho.
Steakum poncho. It gets a little stinky when it's wet, but otherwise you can just bite it as you're. It'd be the perfect thing for camping, right? As when you're out walking, like I'm a little hungry. It's not very waterproof, but
You do realize steakums are raw till you cook them, right?
Well, we're talking about jerky though. It'd look like steakums, but it would be jerky. So it's a little different.
Jerky
But no,
suit.
jerky suit. But no, so Ron and Carl, like being an angsty teenager in the zombie apocalypse has got to suck. Number one, but an angsty teenager fighting over a girl and the other guy's dad killed your dad. Even if your dad is an asshole. I mean, well, number one, does Ron know his dad's an asshole? I mean, Carl pretty much pointed it out, but does he know his dad's
I don't
an
know
asshole?
that he did. I also don't know if he actually knew that Ron's. I don't know if Ron knew his dad killed Deanna's husband.
Yeah.
I think the only thing he knew from it was Rick popped the bullet
Right.
in his head. So.
Well, and I mean, this was the thing, is there's this like weird policy of we're gonna tell the kids, and the kids using loosely because Carl and Ron are pretty adult for whatever they're doing, but we're gonna tell the kids some stuff, but not everything. So Ron just is pissed, and if somebody said, hey, your crazy drunk dad killed Deanna's husband, that's why everybody's pissed, and that's why Rick shot him, and he's still pissed off, then I think you gotta be like, hey, dude, stop being a dick about it. Don't be a porch dick. Don't be Porch Dick Jr. But he doesn't know that, because all he knows is that Rick killed his dad. After flirting with his mom pretty hard, and maybe that's why he killed him, who knows. But Carl calls him out and says, hey, no, your dad killed too.
Did you also notice that when they brought them all inside, the youngest son was like looking at Rick?
I didn't. No. Like, does he not like Rick?
It like slow mode as he was looking at Rick.
I think that was the tunnel vision thing from him being scared.
When I know that he was scared of Rick.
He had Deanna in his arms and shit, and he didn't know what was going on. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and a woman who's bitten, who could become a monster, quote-unquote a monster, gets brought into the house. That certainly doesn't help anything at all. So, yeah, there's a lot. Sam is just a fucked up kid, and, you know, at some point... Well, and here's an interesting question. Now, I'll pose it to the group. You have a kid like Sam in your group in the zombie apocalypse. What do you do about Sam?
Lock him in the attic.
Even though the zombies are taking the house?
He would have been safe in the attic until they could get back.
What if there's not enough food?
He could have took the cookie from the ants that he never found.
Okay. What about you?
Jeez. What do I think? Just what to do with the kid.
What do you do with the kid? Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you can really do is just isolate.
Okay.
I mean, because if I'm thinking from my standpoint, kids are very reactive to things. You know, this whole situation, the zombie apocalypse. You know, and plus the whole thing with not telling the kids everything. It's got to create some really bad curiosity to a point where you just get into a point where, I don't know, you get delusional and you just, not delusional, but just confused to the point that you're kind of starting to lose touch with reality. I think that's what was happening with him. He was just kind of getting barraged more and more and more. You know, he's in his room and then all of a sudden, you know, everyone comes running up, someone's carrying someone, another person's just like telling him, look, you need to pretend to be brave and stuff. It's just like, why do I need to be pretending to be brave, thinking that through, and then all of a sudden seeing meat being put on people and a kid, it's just like, look, we need to go. And I think he just lost touch with everyone, getting the tunnel vision, like the losing sound and everything and all that stuff, and then the whole mom thing going on, which this is just one thing that's been bothering me. He's been in the entire show, right?
Just this season.
Just this season.
When they got to that town, yeah. When they got to that town, he's been there since then.
I mean, if he was involved in all the other seasons, or a majority of it, I'd probably say, kid, you know better.
Right. No, but they were very protected. And part of this season has been losing the townspeople who were very isolated away from the zombies.
So that town right there that they were just at was pretty secured.
Secured and isolated, and then Rick and his people showed up. And what they found out is the opening episode here, there was a quarry nearby, and that the zombies had been going into the quarry and filling it up, and that's why they didn't get that many zombies around the town.
Okay.
But that the wall or the thing that was blocking the entrance to the quarry was about to fall down, and they had to make this plan to get the zombies going the opposite direction away from town.
Right.
And that's when kind of shit hit the fan. But yeah, so they were pretty isolated. They didn't have the travel on the road. Basically, they put up the walls, shit started going down, they put up the walls, and they were safe. They have solar power, they had water, they had everything. So they lived pretty basic. But, like, nothing, not a lot changed. So, am I the only one who says kill the kid? Is that just me?
Yeah, that's an option. If he's too much of a liability.
I thought about it, but I wanted to be nice and so I stuffed him in the attic.
Well, and so, I mean, you put him in the attic, but at some point you got to take off the gloves, and you have to say, everybody's got to pull their weight. I'm also the guy who says kill Eugene. Like, if you're not going to pull your fucking weight, there's no room for pussyfooting around in this new world.
But what if his lockpicking skill comes in handy again later?
Well, and so that's the thing. When, like, in the example a few weeks ago where Rosalita is doing the machete class.
That was last week.
Was that last week? And he's like, I don't want to do this. Now, first of all, Rick needs to be a better leader, and he needs to know what's going on. He needs to have a nice hierarchy going down so that Rosa feels safe coming over and being like, listen, Eugene walked out of this fucking class. And then you're Rick and you walk over there and say, listen, you got two options. Take the fucking class or get out of the gate. That's it. Because you need to be ready. I don't want you being a liability because people like you and you're a human and we feel bad for you. And people like our good shots like Rosa and Tara are going to risk their lives coming to save you instead of doing what they're supposed to do. So pull your weight or you're gone. And tough decisions need to be made in the zombie apocalypse.
You like how we didn't see Spencer at all tonight?
That's true. But wasn't Spencer in the tower? Wasn't he in the... No, he was back on this side of the fence.
I can't remember what he did at the end of the episode last week. Because we know he tried to crawl her over the fence.
Yeah, he was there with Rick.
I think that was the breaking point of... With the grappling hook pulling on that section is what actually caused that extra weight with him bouncing up and down is what might have caused the thing to collapse.
I think that they were on the other side of the tower. So there might be other people on the other side of the tower that we haven't seen yet. Which will be good, because more people is good. But Spencer's another one. Like, pull your weight, stop fucking around, or just go. One or the other. If you want the grappling hook and go, fucking just go. But when you draw attention like that and you make our people risk themselves, too much trouble. Sam, listen, buddy. This world fucking sucks. Bad things happen to bad people. Your dad went a little drunk and a little crazy, and he killed Miss Deanna's husband. The penalty for killing somebody in our town is that you have to die yourself. Now, this new guy, he's the only one who really knows how to do these things. He did it for us. You don't hate him. You hate all of us because they took your dad away. But, like, if you can't come to terms with that, if you're going to be a liability, Mr. Rick is going to have to make you see the flowers, too. You know what? See, that's something you missed already. So, Carol, by the way, Morgan and Carol facing off, and Morgan's like, you're going to have to kill me, too. Yo, she kills kids. She's not fucking scared of you, dude. She will kill anybody. Carol killed a kid a couple seasons ago.
She killed 2 kids.
Killed 2 kids a couple seasons ago. Just look at the flowers. Pop. I mean, but...
Yep.
Thought she killed the baby too, till the baby magically popped back up in the freaking...
No, we all thought the kid killed the baby.
Yeah. But no, I mean, listen, Sam, you need to be... If you're going to be a liability, let me explain to you what liability means, but if you're going to be a liability, then Mr. Rick is going to have to make you look at some flowers. Because I can't have you risking everybody for you. Because, I mean, again, they're walking out of the house. The 7 or 8 that are there are, for all intents and purposes, safe. I mean, they're not safe, but they're on their way to the armory and then elsewhere. They've devised these little meat suits and they're ready to go. And Sam's going to be the fucking one who makes it all good.
I don't care if it's zombie apocalypse or not. You tell me you're going to kill my kid, I'm going to kill you first.
Well, and so that's the thing. But, I mean, it shouldn't have come down to that moment because Sam has been all up in his room being depressed for a week now. And Jesse's got to be like, yo, listen... Get your shit together or don't, but it can't go either way. And then Brick's got to be like, Jesse, either get your kid or fucking something else is going to happen. And listen, I mean, it's fine to do that, but control your fucking kids. If your kid is going to threaten my life and the life of my people, I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect that. And the story all along has been just that. We protect our people no matter what. And I think that was interesting, something that Glenn said to Enid outside. Of course, he doesn't know about the just survive somehow. But essentially what he said was, just survive somehow includes helping your friends. Like, we need to stick together in this world. Mm-hmm. And that's true. You need your friends to survive. You got to be able to do that. But you got to also be able to cut off liabilities at some point, too. So, anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just like background tying up ends thing, but I'm seeing different groups in different places. So the group that was in Alexandria, and then you have the group that's going for the fuel truck or is driving down and they meet that. Right. Are they connected together or are they just kind of freelance?
Okay, so kind of Rick is the leader of what I've been calling our group. The group that we followed for 6 seasons.
Right.
The people in the truck, one of them is Daryl. He's with our group. One of them is Abraham, who we met on the road last season. The other one is Sasha, who we met at the prison 3 seasons ago. So the problem is that everyone in that truck is part of our group, but they came into the group at different times. Daryl came in season 1, Sasha came in season 3, and then Abraham came in season 5.
Maggie came in season 2.
Okay, so why are they split up?
So when they were trying to get the horde out and guide them away, they had this whole plan of following Daryl and Abraham and Sasha in the car, and so they led the group away, and then everything kind of went to shit, and half the horde came to the town. So they're out and away somewhere. But so basically, anyone who's not, at this point, anybody who's not from Alexandria is part of our group. There's only really those two groups, and most of the Alexandrians are dead now. So
okay, and then you have the Negan group. Are they just like a freelancing like raider kind of group? Are they trying to like?
What you've seen of Negan's group is what we've seen of Negan's group. That's fine.
Okay.
We haven't. Right. We see. Well, Negan leads the Saviors. Is that right? Yes, Negan leads the Saviors. So we saw a little bit of them 2 episodes ago, but only from the waist down, and they were chasing someone, but we don't know anything about them more than that.
Okay.
And the Wolves, the reason that one guy with the W's in the basement was because they kind of flooded over the walls, tried to take and steal some stuff from the town, and then...
Sorry.
And then our crew repulsed the attack, and they captured one of them. Morgan captured him, and that's why he's in the basement. So, in the world right now, there are 3 groups that we know of. There is the Saviors with Negan. There are the Wolves with... Who's the leader?
There's got to be a leader for the Wolves.
Yeah, and I know that they've talked about him before. But so there's the Wolves, and then there's the Sagans, leader of the Saviors, and then there's our crew, who's in Alexandria. And what's left of the Alexandrians are going to end up being folded into our crew. And just like 2 seasons ago, we would have said at the jail, or a season ago, we said on the road there's our crew, and then there's Abraham and Eugene's crew. But now Abraham and Eugene's crew is part of our crew, and then we have new outsiders. Alexandrians are outsiders, and then next season it'll be the Alexandrians are part of us, and there will be new friendlies and these other enemies. So.
Alright, and one more question.
Yeah.
Are they trying to, like, are they objective about something, or are they just more going off survival? Like when you're watching episodes, is it just like, okay, we're going to do this now, or are they actually trying to go for something? Like, are they trying to reach a safe haven kind of place or something?
The reason that, so everything started out in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
That's where Rick was, that's where all of the original survivors were. They met, and most of them were around there. They found a farm, that's where Maggie and a lot of characters who are no longer with us were, and it was a nice, safe place. But it was an illusion of safety because there was no walls, there was no nothing, and once the zombies found them, the horde just kind of came in and kicked them all out.
Okay.
So they scattered, and then they found each other again, and they found this prison. And so obviously the prison had walls, and there was a town nearby, and they clashed with that person. So for a while it was looking for safety and some safe place. But they ran into Abram and Eugene. And Eugene, who is the most useless human being on Earth, told this story about being a scientist of some kind. CDC, is that where he said he worked?
I believe so.
And that they were going to DC because the protocol was that all these scientists had to get to DC because they were working on a cure. So the reason they're in Alexandria from Virginia is that they met up with Abraham and Eugene, and now they're making their way up to DC. Along the road, though, they find out that Eugene's full of shit and that he's not actually a scientist, which should have been clear when he was like carrying him on point. But nonetheless, so Alexandria became like a safe, they kind of I think they just stumbled on it. I can't remember how they found it initially.
What's his face met up with him?
That's right, Andrew. Where is Andrew? Is he dead?
I don't know.
No, see, we don't know where Andrew is. He's with Spencer on the other side of the tower.
We'll find out in 2 months.
Because the last time we saw him, he was with, in the sewer with Maggie, and then up on the wall with Rick. So we know that he was okay up until the wall came down. So Andrew, there's another character that hopefully there's more people on the other side of the wall. Anyway, so he brought them. The Alexandrians were looking for more people, but they were looking for the right people, so they sent out these, do you play Fallout?
Yeah.
Alright, so you know that you send the guys out into the wasteland? They kind of sent those people out, and they would stalk groups when they found them to see whether or not they were peaceful and they could come in. Right. And after they found this group, he brought our people into Alexandria, but then shit kind of happened. Not their fault, but they were just trying to survive now. So it's this cyclic thing of find a safe place, turns out it's not so safe, and then they go on the road. And then find a safe place, turns out it's not so safe, go on the road. But like I said at the open, what they did at the farm and at the jail was, as soon as shit hit the fan, they rolled out. What we're seeing now is not the run for the hills, it's stand your ground, go to the house, we're going to fight our way out of this, we're all in this together, let's do this. So I think that's where we're seeing a shift, where they're not planning on going on the road, it's planning on taking back the town. And for somebody who's seen the comic books, they may know a little better. But the comics are still getting written, so we don't really know where the end of the story goes.
Well, I know where Alexandria ends, and with the zombies coming through the wall, that was basically it for Alexandria in the comics. But I think since they're bringing Negan in earlier than what had happened with the comics, I think they're going to end up dealing with the herd that gets inside.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see these three groups fight over Alexandria, I believe.
Well, and that's the thing, is that the other problem is they basically said the comic books are a guide, and we are going to tell our own story that's loosely related to the comics. So even people who've seen it don't know for sure, or people who've read the comics don't know for sure what's going to happen. So we'll just have to wait and see. So you should catch up, watch the other 6 seasons, and then catch up with us by February. You got plenty of time.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling him it's very Fallout-like in a way. And
Yeah.
he was just like, yeah.
Very Wasteland, and the only the difference is there's not radioactive stuff; it's zombies.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing's really changed. It's just one thing I love about it, and I noticed again in this episode, is the zombie quality. It just gets less and less and less every season. Like, we had a lot of up close and personal views of the zombies, and you're seeing a lot of them with battle damage. I guess you'd call it battle damage. Like, there was a guy that had something stuck in his neck.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was clearly there because someone stabbed him, but they didn't get him in the head. They got him in the neck. It just kept on going. And the skin's starting to fall, and there's other damage on them. And in season 1, they were all very fresh. All the bodies were very fresh, and as we have gone along now, we've seen the rotting of the corpses and the battle damage and all that stuff, and I think that's just awesome.
Yeah, it'd probably be a hard question to ask, but do you know like how much of a timeline this is? Is it like within months?
2 years. 2 years is, I think, where they said.
It's about 2 years.
Okay.
And there's been, like, this whole season was 4 days?
Day and a half.
Day and a half. Yeah, so what they've done is they've jumped time in between season pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they can't do that now because they cliff hung.
Well, this basically, the start of this season basically picked up where last season,
yeah,
because it did the whole flashback, so it might have jumped about a week,
right,
but no more than that.
But in previous seasons they've covered a lot of time. Like on the road, you don't get the feeling of the passage of time, but when they say, hey, we're traveling, basically on foot from Georgia to Alexandria, you get the feeling that there's a lot of time that's passing through.
Like when they found, at the end of season 2 when everybody was scattered.
Yeah.
Season 3 opened up with Rick and most of the crew together. Apparently they were circling the fucking prison the entire winter.
Yeah.
So.
And that was the other thing, is that maybe it's the limitations of shooting, but shooting in Georgia in the winter is probably not the best. So it's like, all right, let's skip a few months and we'll write some stuff for springtime and we'll shoot it in February and March and make it look like spring. So, but anything else? Any other big things to talk about?
I don't know. I'm at the moment I still want to stick by my end of the season prediction of Glenn dying.
Yeah.
We'll see if that changes at the mid-season premiere.
Well, I think that it's going to mean a lot more if he does now. And clearly, by the way, Glenn knew that Maggie was pregnant.
Yep.
We didn't know that before, but we found out when he was talking to Enid that he knew. Which maybe is the inspiration for living. Why did he want to live so bad that he stayed under that dumpster for so long? He knew he had something to get back to. Mm-hmm. And it makes it even more tragic if something happens to him now. You're seeing him as a dad with Enid, that kind of father, the dad voice coming out, and the idea that he wouldn't make it to the end of the season after being through all of this would be horrible. So, anything else?
I can't really think of anything.
All right. Any thoughts from the season, Karina? No. I think it's been a hit and miss season. There were, like, the Morgan episode. If there was one that was 90 minutes, I would have picked this one and not the Morgan episode. But, the greater wisdom to those who have control over writing and shooting this thing. another 8 episodes under our belt, another 8 weeks. And once again, AMC and Robert Kirkman and the people at The Walking Dead, you knocked it out of the park. You know, I'd say judgments because, you know, it's like, well, it's a 10, and I would have preferred a 10.10 rather than a 10.1. You know, it's all these little things that we can find to talk about.
It wasn't a big cliffhanger, but they still left us with all the questions, which means they
Right.
obviously know we're going to at least watch the first episode of the second half to find out what the fuck is about to happen.
Right.
I think Sam's going to get bit.
And God, I hope so. God, let Sam die. That's my prediction for the end of the... Wait, what was yours for the Fear the Walking Dead? That Nick died? Not because you think he was going to die, because you just wanted him to die?
Yes.
Yeah. My prediction is Sam dies by the end. Not because I think he is, just because I want him to. I just want him to die by the end of the season. So God, please let him die.
Episode 9, Sam dies.
God, please.
I don't think he's going to make it out of that. Sitting there
the
screaming
meat
like that,
tent?
he's not going to make it to the armory.
Good. Let him go. And here's the question. If he starts yelling and everybody else stays silent, I'm pretty sure the zombies just attack him, right?
I would think so.
I
But
mean, like...
you know Jesse's going to do something.
Unless Rick just like grabs her up, it's like, woo, and then she has to watch her kid get eaten. That would suck. But would be awesome for us as viewers. So.
Do you want to hear a tidbit from the comics
No,
that I don't
nope.
think will happen?
No spoilers for the future, only spoilers from here and backward. That's how we do this. So, anyway, so make sure you're following at Dirtyshore UG on Twitter and Facebook. We will be back in February, live streaming bonus episodes, reviewing those. Make sure you check out DirtyshoreUnderground.com where you can get new episodes of this podcast every Thursday. I can't remember what we have coming up this week, but...
Black X Part 1, eh?
Maybe it's Black X Part 1. That'd be great. Yeah, so check that out. It's an exciting story with a lot of backstory, so make sure you check out the old episodes. Also, this will be dropping on Cyber Monday. For everybody who doesn't know what Cyber Monday is, it's the biggest shopping day, online shopping day of the year. If you're going to be doing any online shopping, don't go directly to Amazon.com. First, go to DirtyShoreUnderground.com. Click on the Amazon link. There's one right on the webpage. There's one on each individual post as well. Click through the link there. It'll take you directly to Amazon. There's nothing different. You do your shopping as per usual. You go through, you pay. For you, everything stays the same, including the price. But Amazon, as a thank you to us for sending you to their site, will give us a little bit extra. It helps us. It helps the podcast. It helps us bring you all of this free, great content that you get and justify us being up at 11:22 when we have to be up for court very early in the morning. So make sure you click through the link to Amazon at DirtyShoreUnderground.com. You can find me on all my stuff at RobertNCheek.com, and I'm at RobertNCheek on all your social networks. Thank you guys for being with us all of this season. We'll be back in February for more bonus episodes. Thank you for Karina having patience with us for this entire bonus episode season of The Walking Dead. You're the best. Thank you to Harry for joining us.
I was about to have a heart attack.
Thank you to Harry for joining us on so many of these episodes. I hope you do catch up so you can join us next season. Everyone, enjoy your mid-season break. And we will catch you, new episodes again Thursdays, but we'll catch you for the bonus episodes featuring The Walking Dead in February. Have a great winter, everybody.
Good night.
Next year.
Because it is next year.
Ugh, it is. Ugh. Ugh.